Hi. We have been experiencing quite a heat wave in these parts, so time to fire up the old swimming pool. And for the last couple of years I've been doing without the skimmer weir flap. I think it's called a weir flap. I call it a skimmer flap. It's this thing. This hinges at the bottom right here, like this. As the water gets pumped out of the pool, it pushes this flap over. Water flows over the edge of this flap. At the back of the flap there's this foam. Pushes the flap to the surface of the water, so this edge is always just below the surface of the water. That increases the flow speed of the water, and it pushes all the floating debris into the skimmer container right to the back of this flap. Like I said, it should be hinging at the bottom. For that, originally it had these small pins. They were somehow injection molded all in one piece, but this is all very flimsy. It broke off the first year in. I used super glue to reattach them, but finally I got tired of it. I sawed off these corners entirely and I had to come up with something new. I finally came up with something, drilling these holes, two on this side, two on this side, so 2 holes on each side, and then I printed these 2 blocks out of white PLA with hinge pins, correct size and hopefully correct length. Still have to test that. And they connect to the weir flap just by sliding them over the edge, and then taking a standard tie wrap and running it through a channel in these blocks and through these drill holes. Run it through one side, back the other side, and then close the loop with a tie wrap, pull it taut, and that should fix it in place. Should this block ever fail or should the pin break off, printing one of these only takes half an hour. I'm gonna mount this to the skimmer in the pool in a minute and see if it works. Turns out that the dimensions of these 2 blocks are not correct. They're too narrow. I'll try to show that. Okay, it's in now. It's the wrong way around, I know that, but I'm missing about 3 mm of length in total. Back to the drawing board. All in all, a good idea. I just need some final tweaks and then I should be good. So let me explain the problem right now and what I did to fix it. As you can see in the corner right here, this block that I printed and tried a couple of minutes ago in the pool, the pin on it doesn't extend all the way into the hole in the skimmer collar. So what I did was I lengthened both these blocks, and this will be the new situation. In the background you can hear my 3D printer printing those 2 new blocks, both version 3, and they will be tight against the inside of the skimmer collar. I can show you on drawing as well. So here we have version 2 of one of those blocks, and this is version 3. I'll toggle those 2 windows a couple of times and then the difference will become clear, I think. So that's rather a simple trick just to visualize what the differences are between 2 versions of one part. As you can see, the block got longer. I added a little cutout at this corner, and I added a bottom chamfer along this side. This is the side of the block on which the entire block is printed. This will contact the print bed, and because the printer is always over extruding in the first few layers, I usually add a chamfer. That cuts down on my clean up time. Okay, so now I have to wait for the printer to complete these 2 new blocks. and then I'll fit them to the skimmer. So with version 3 done of these blocks, I cleaned them up. They fit quite well. With this extra cut, they fit nicely into the right location. Also the tie wraps fit nicely. As you can see, both blocks are now relatively flush with the flap itself. So I think this will fit now. Time to see if it fits. So I just stopped the pump. So the rear flap goes in this orientation. I just have to remember which one of these blocks goes where. This one goes on this side, this one on that side. And it fits. Okay, both the blocks are in now. What do you know? It fits. Not only fits, it fits really well. No play whatsoever. One other thing to do. So I'm gonna remove the flap very carefully. Position both the blocks. Okay, because there's one other thing I need to do. Quite a while ago I drilled this hole at the top of the flap, and I also drilled a hole in the edge of the skimmer, and I drilled those holes to limit the angle of the swing of the weir flap. This length should do. I don't know how to tie a knot, so I'm keeping this simple. Looks okay to me. I'll tie the other end later on. Time to fix the flap in place. So again, carefully. And now comes the fiddly task of fixing the tie wraps. And now for the other one. You can see the left one move and the right one. There it is. It's a bit tough to do underwater because it gets a bit slippery. So both tie wraps are in place. I just need to close the loop on both. The sound you're hearing, the ratcheting, is from the first tie wrap being closed. still want to cut off the free ends of the tie wraps. I'm not going to use scissors for that, because there's a lot of chlorine in this water and I don't want my tools rusting. But I don't care about this old utility knife. So there's one piece. Again, not the string. Hopefully I don't cut myself. But there's enough chlorine in this water to kill any bacteria. And there's the second part. With the flap in place, it's time to limit the swing angle using this small piece of string. Okay. Okay. I'm gonna go over, start up the pump. You guys watch if the weir flap starts flapping. I'm weirdly flapper casted. And that's how you cover the pool. Thanks for watching. See you on the next one.